Hello, hello, and welcome to this quick little intro to human design. This is really for you if you are brand new to human design, or maybe you've been dabbling a little bit in human design, but you're not quite sure on where it came from or how to use it. So this is a quick and dirty video to just introduce you into this whole world and give you a little bit of a preview of what's to come. So what is human design? This is distilled. This is just super basic, but human design is this beautiful fusion of ancient modalities like the Kabbalah tree of life, the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, the Chinese I Ching or the Book of Changes, and Western astrology. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you a disclaimer and say, I am not an expert in any of these four modalities. If you would like to learn more about these modalities and their foundations, I highly recommend that you go and do some research as far as, look into the origins of these. Like I said, I'm not an expert, so I don't feel qualified to do that, but those are those ancient modalities. And then human design is also fused with lots of modern science. So we're looking at astronomy, genetics, biochemistry, quantum physics, right? It's like this big, beautiful fusion of all of this stuff. And that's why it gets so complex and so layered and so nuanced, okay? And human design was, I say founded, but it was transmitted by Ra Uru Hu. So you can Google Ra Uru Hu, you can watch videos from him. He is no longer alive. But in the 80s, by the way, he was born Alan Krakauer, I don't know. He was born Alan in Canada. And in the 80s, he was traveling in Ibiza, Spain, and he had this like encounter with a voice, and it lasted for 8 days. And he basically channeled this system. It was all this information that he was gifted with. And it was this intense experience. And then after that, he made it his life's work to build on this body of knowledge and share it with the world. And his point of view is that it's not really for us, it's for the children. Because if we can raise our children to be aligned with their energetic blueprint, with their human design, and try to not condition them to be anyone else or operate in any other way, we're going to have this beautiful harmonious world of people who are living as themselves instead of their not selves. So that's really, I think, where his passion for this system came from and his why for sharing it. But obviously it's very useful for us. I know I'm a mother of 2, so, trying to raise my children in alignment with their human design as I'm raising myself with the same intention, it's a beautiful thing. I definitely have made choices that I might not have made otherwise, but I guess that's a whole other conversation. Okay, so let me just preface this by saying the way that I teach human design may be very different from the way other teachers teach human design, but the way that I come at it is from just a very empowering place. And I don't ever want you to feel limited or like this is, a rule book for you. It just is. It's a map of your unique energetic imprint. It's determined only by your birth date, time, and place. So this is not a subjective personality test. This just is, and it doesn't ever change as long as you live. The way that it's expressed will change depending on your environment, depending on how you were raised, depending on who you're around, depending on your experiences, right? All of these things will, of course, determine how you express the energy that's there for you, express your human design, but your human design will never change. And it's a user manual for yourself. It's a self-awareness tool. It's a way for you to really know and understand yourself on a much deeper level and operate in the world and in business and in your relationships in alignment with that. So, living your design. Now, let me also say that you're never not living your design, because your design is you and you are your design. So, you're never not living it. But living, the sort of higher expression of your design, living as, this embodiment of the higher expression of your human design, rather than sort of the lower expression, and rather than living out of your conditioning, right? Living in alignment with this authentic energy that only you possess. When you start to do this and experiment with this and embody this, it validates everything you always knew about yourself deep down. And in the beginning, it might be jarring or surprising or shocking in some way. You might be in denial about it, as I was, but eventually you'll see that you've already known all these things about yourself deep down. And this is just this validation. And it gives you permission to be that, to be your true, authentic, unique self, even if other people don't understand it, even if you don't understand it. It eliminates resistance in your work, relationships, and life, because you stand so clear and confident in who you are. And you also are able to see other people as they are, instead of just this projection of who you think they should be, or who you expect them to be. Right? So it provides so much more flow and acceptance, and harmony in relationships. And of course, in business, that's a huge reason why we're here. Just just coming home to yourself and being the clearest, most confident, most fully expressed version of yourself is so powerful in business, especially when you are in the more creative or spiritual or intuitive realm. It helps you decondition and reclaim your power as a unique individual. It helps to highlight all the areas in which you've been living out of alignment with your unique energy, and how to bring yourself back to yourself. And it helps you to live out your purpose and potential in this lifetime. Now, you'll hear me say this over and over again. Your purpose is not something you do, it's who you be. And human design allows you to be who you are. And when you are truly you, you are already living out your unique potential moment by moment. Human design Bodygraph. Okay. I should also say some of these numbers are off. I realize that. We're changing that, but without looking at the numbers, just looking at these energy centers and the lines and the way it's all laid out, I want you to just have the basic understanding of, when you look at your chart, the centers, these are your energy centers, by the way, these 9 energy centers, the ones that are colored in, this is your consistent energy. This is what is reliable for you. This is the energy that you give to the world. This is also the energy that you might not even realize is there, that you might not understand, that you might take for granted, because it's so who you are. It's so your lifeblood, that this is where a lot of that projection comes into play, because we assume that, oh, if I'm this way, everyone is this way. And that's not the case. And human design highlights that. But a lot of times our defined centers are defined gates and channels. So these lines and these numbers all over your chart, the ones that are colored in, a lot of times we take that energy for granted because it's so embedded in who we are. Now, the undefined areas, so the undefined centers, the white centers, the white lines, anything that's not colored in, this is inconsistent for you. Okay, this is where you receive energy from your environment. So, for instance, if you have, if this head center, the crown center, is white or undefined, and you are around someone who has a defined head center, you're going to be absorbing, amplifying, and distorting that mental pressure from your environment, that energy from the head center. So this is where you receive energy from others, and this creates different dynamics that you may or may not be aware of. But now that you are here, you are going to become astutely aware of these patterns, and you're going to be able to reprogram them a little bit and get back to yourself. And you're going to be able to discern what's you and what's someone else. So your body graph shows where your consistent energy lies, as well as where you're vulnerable to the energy of others. And by vulnerable, I don't mean it's a bad thing. We're humans, we're social animals, we are meant to interact with each other. Those undefined areas of your chart are where the greatest potential for wisdom really is. And when we get into the energy centers very soon, you'll understand that a little bit more. But for now, I just want you to know the difference between defined and undefined. The 4 auras. Okay, so your aura is determined by which energy centers you have defined. Okay, it has nothing to do with your personality. A lot of people want to say that, oh, manifestors have this closed, repelling aura. They're so cold and off-putting, and that's just bogus. Okay. Your aura is not your personality. It's not something that's consciously perceptible. It just describes your electromagnetic field, the electromagnetic field that is you and 6 feet around you in all directions, and how that electromagnetic field moves through the world and interacts with others. Your aura determines your type and your strategy. Your strategy is not what you do, but the energy with which you do it. So, manifestors have a more dense, pushing aura. Generators have an open, pulling aura. Projectors have a penetrating, absorbing aura, and reflectors have a sampling aura. And you'll notice that manifesting generators are not on here. It's not that they're not a type, they absolutely are a type. Manifesting generators have the same aura as the generator. And the reason for that is because generators and manifesting generators have a defined sacral center. And when the sacral center is defined, this is what creates that open pulling aura. It's also what creates this buzzing life force energy. Manifesting generators, in addition to the defined sacral center, have one of their motor centers, one of these other buzzy energy centers, connected to the throat. So that's where that pressure to make things happen quickly comes from. That's why manifesting generators typically tend to move a little bit faster than generators. I'm making a blanket statement there, but this is why manifesting generators are not listed on here, because I'm only talking about the auras. And yes, your aura does determine your type, but there is that little discrepancy with generators and manifesting generators. Yes, you are different from a generator, but your aura, the way your aura operates, is pretty much the same. Then we have authority. So your authority is your decision-making mechanism. So where a lot of times we are conditioned to make decisions by making pro and con lists, asking everyone around us and their mom's cousin for advice, looking to the past, looking to the future, all these different ways in which we're conditioned to make decisions, when all along we had this inner GPS that could just guide us everywhere we want to go, or everywhere we're meant to go, I should say. So you'll see on your chart, it will say authority, and then it will say one of these. So emotional, sacral, splenic, ego projected, ego manifested, self-projected. It might say none or environment. That means you're a mental projector, and lunar. So if you have lunar authority, that means you're a reflector. Okay. So learning about your decision-making mechanism is huge, 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 because life is just a really long string of decisions, and most of us don't trust ourselves to make the right ones. But through human design, you can develop this intimate relationship with your inner GPS, and the more you make decisions from that place, the more confident you will become, and you'll see that it really does guide you to your path. So no matter what you learn here or elsewhere about human design, always bringing it back to strategy, which is associated with your type, and authority, which is your built-in GPS. That's the name of the game, because it's always going to come back to that. It's always going to come back to making correct decisions for you. All the answers are within. Allow yourself to be guided by your strategy and authority. And the magic is not in the thinking or the doing, it's in the being. Because when you are being your authentic, fullest expression of your higher self, your soul, whatever you want to call it, your energetic imprint, when you are being that, when you are embodying that, the doing is a byproduct. The doing that is in alignment with that happens naturally. It's not something you need to think about a whole lot. It's not something that you need to stress about. It will happen. So when you can focus on being who you are and being the fully expressed version of you, of your energy, it's the juice. That's the elixir, baby. So what else should you know? How does it all relate to your business? That is the question. Okay, so I look at this holistically. I look at charts holistically. I look at energy holistically. Your chart it's as if each part of your chart, okay, so your authority, your profile, all the different things, it's as if those are all moves, dance moves, okay? And each move is cool. It's cute. It gives us a little bit, but when you put it all together, that's the real performance, okay? So yeah, you can learn all these things separately, and in the beginning you should, but just know that, it's hard to pluck different parts out and say, okay, this is your profile. This is the strategy you should follow in business. That's not the way it works. It's way more nuanced than that. It's about embodying all these different parts of yourself and making correct decisions moment to moment. Okay. So, but with that said, as a coach who works with entrepreneurs, these are a lot of the things that I'm looking at. Okay. So with energy centers, as I said, it's how you give and receive energy. It also gives us a lot of insight into what are your fears? What are your conditioned patterns? What are these energy dynamics you've been playing out that might be out of alignment? Where are you feeling extra pressure and you're making decisions out of that place in your business versus what's correct for you? How to transcend this conditioning for greater wisdom and, as a byproduct, magnetism, impact. This is also going to give us insight into your messaging, your voice, your offers, your workflow. Profile is the archetype that you embody. Are you here to solve problems? Are you here to be a natural connector? Your profile can give us a lot of insight into your leadership and just like what you're here to bring to the world. So your brand and your positioning and your offers, the variables can be so life-changing in your business, because it'll show you if you really thrive on strategy or not. Have you been pushing strategy and been feeling overwhelmed? Maybe that's not correct for you, right? Are you more focused or more peripheral? That's going to make a difference as far as, how you set goals in your business. Details versus big picture, same thing. Visualizing versus feeling. We all want to talk about manifesting, but there's no one size fits all. Really feeling into these things in a way that's correct for you will help you to embody them even faster. Determination and environment. So this is nourishing your brain and body for peak energy and vitality. A lot of us, I've been guilty of this too. A lot of us, we get so in the business that we forget to take care of our bodies. And we realize, I've realized that, again, this is holistic. How you show up in your business and how you show up in your relationships and for yourself and your body, it's all connected. So we need to make sure that we are nourishing our brains and bodies, because when we're not, those ideas and inspirations and downloads can't come through, right? We're not clear. We're we're not feeling our energy and vitality. We haven't created space for that. So we are definitely going to be diving into this and so much more. Your incarnation cross, which gives us a lot of insight into, you know, your purpose. Again, your purpose isn't something you do, it's energy you be. But you know, incarnation cross can give us a lot of insights in that area. Your circuitry or channels, who are you here to serve? How are you motivated in that arena? Are you motivated more through creative self-expression, or are you motivated to bring something to the collective? That's going to make a difference as far as your offers and your messaging. Your gates, not just the ones that you have defined, but also the ones you don't have defined, because those are the ones where you're going to feel that energetic longing. Oh, I wrote incarnation cross twice. I guess that's extra important. Also, your perspective and motivation. And it's less about how you're motivated and more about how you motivate others, and how and what you're here to see, the unique perspective you're here to have. All of these things can give us so much insight into this holistic, embodied version of yourself in your business. Okay, that's it. I want to thank you for being here. And most importantly, I want to thank you for being you and having this commitment to being you, to embodying you in life, in business, in your relationships. I'm so grateful that you're here. If you have any questions about this video, leave a comment. We'll be sure to return your comment. And otherwise, have a beautiful day. I hope you enjoyed this.